Yeah, he's recording with us right now, you know. Hey, welcome to the fucking video, everybody. Oh, there's demonetization. Oh, well, I wasn't monetizing this anyway.
He's here for the fucking cunting video.
There's the 3 swears.
And then he's gonna leave us to eat.
Yeah, well, he's going to eat and then eat out.
Yeah.
Maybe. Allie is sitting right here.
Oh my god.
Yo.
Hello, Allie.
Oh, Allie's in this video too. Allie, do you have any
woman on stream? What?
Do you
That's a
have any
rarity
boss
here.
fights? Do you have any boss fights from games that you like to share with us?
Yeah. You do that.
You know what? Let's start. Let's prove how progressive this channel is. We'll start. Allie, what's your favorite boss battle in a video game?
Oh god.
On the spot, go.
Welcome to recording. All right.
Give her some time to think. We'll go.
Yeah.
So, Vex, head on to Twitter. I just resent.
I figured she was gonna do something from Final Fantasy 15 because she's obsessed with that game.
Oh God.
I added Arden.
Final Fight in 15 is awful.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I put in Arden. Allie, I put in the final boss in 15.
Okay.
I put him in.
Fuck Arden, by the way. Fuck Arden.
Genuinely though, Thurman, I do want to say, very, very flattered that you still consider your best friend. Or I'm shocked actually. I thought I've been a pretty bad friend. So thank you. That means a lot to me.
Just because we don't talk doesn't mean you get demoted.
That's it. I'm guessing.
You're the best. Here's what we'll do. Hit me up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There's people in California that I don't talk to every day, and they're still best friend category.
All
so
right.
why wouldn't you be?
All right. So here's we should actually have like. Shut the fuck up. We should actually have like let's have like an actual like private call sometime, Thurman. Like.
Oh, I'm down. I thought about
Yeah.
calling you the other day, but I was on the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely, man.
I was gonna hit you up, see how you're doing.
I'll call you.
Okay.
All right, thanks, bro.
So,
anyway, I'm just gonna talk about Sans and then dip.
Okay.
Like 10 minutes.
Vex, I'm gonna start the video. I'm gonna, start this bad boy up. I'm sitting down in his chair.
We've been filming this whole time, right, David?
He went to the restroom. Okay, so here's the chart. It's S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. Do you guys want to add any more tiers, or is this enough?
Put like below D, like
below D, like trash.
Yeah, but no. Did anyone put any shitty ones in here?
I mean, I put in a fuck ton of them. We can argue if these are shitty or not.
There's like 68 now.
Yeah.
Because we added one.
Jesus, you think I'm gonna be able to? That'd be
no.
That's more games than you've ever played, Red.
Tomorrow, right? They have me working tomorrow. Don't be mad at me for not wasting my entire.
Nah, you're good, bro. Then you said
honestly,
a trash tier.
The reason we're going out to eat right now is because she has a Minecraft night with her girls. So we were going to make something, and we were like, oh, we do not have time to cook right now.
Okay. You said what tier, Red? Below
like
D.
A trash underneath D or something.
Okay, trash.
Just in case.
Garbage. I'm gonna put ass. Fights.
Also, you should probably talk about GLaDOS real quick too, because that's one.
Yeah. So let's start with Red's picks first. Okay, so
none of us really know enough about GLaDOS to actually have a discussion.
All right, so we're gonna talk about. So let's start with Vex. Look, are you going to the restroom real quick?
I just used the restroom.
Okay.
I was just swapping seats with you because I know I'll eventually get pulled away.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at your phone real quick to remember what Red gave me, so we can start with his first before he leaves. So Flowey's here. So what's the verdict?
Okay, so Allie will find this very funny. Omega Flowey. The
Omega Flowey.
Omega Flowey is cool. It's not.
We are recording, right?
What's up?
Okay. I was asking, making sure we're recording.
Yep. See the red dot there on the OBS logo.
Okay.
So we have that. I have it particularly as that like Photoshop crazy version of Flowey. Hold on, let me make sure I'm going. That version of Flowey is very neat because it's one of those things where like you're in the game, it's all the same art style all the way through, and then like to jar you and shock you, it's like randomly all like creepy like Photoshop amalgamation shit, right? I'm sure you've seen that, right, Thurman?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so like, and that boss along with Sans does a lot of like meta game breaking shit, which I love in any boss.
I think I saw that. Didn't it like he'll like reload a save just to kill you over and over again?
Yeah, so first when you first start that boss, he crashes your game, like hard crashes. This game was originally on the PC, so on the PC it would literally just like hard crash your game, and it looked like a normal crash. So before that was like a common thing to do in like meta games, like that was like what, like what, hello, and then on console it'll just like full restart your game, but it's way better on PC. Yeah, it just like crash.
So
And then yeah, he also his whole thing is that he can like fuck with your save file. So he'll delete your save file, he'll reload it. He tries to kill you with save states. Like he like has save states and he'll like load them at like times where he's already hitting you just to fuck with you.
Okay, so where are we tiering this one? Where's the S to D or to
I'm
S
gonna
fight?
put this for me. It's right below S because to me the Sans fight is way better. Like it's the pinnacle, but it's very good. But I don't think it's perfection.
Okay, anyone argue against that? Should be higher or lower?
Considering I've never played Undertale, so I can't really say anything.
All right, what about you, Andrew?
I think A tier is good for it.
Face.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's
remember,
fair.
Also,
let's also talk
on a
about
scale
gameplay
of,
as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say with it being hard, it is pretty hard, but it's beatable. It's still that there's that ability for it to be beaten kind of thing, and it's
I'm not gonna lie,
not all that hard once you've gotten used to it.
Yeah. Also, Omega Flowey is the one of those boss battles where, if you remember, Andrew, it's one of those things that it's a lot more like a scripted defeat rather than an actual test of skill. Because over time, as you fight that boss, it starts to become clear that it's programmed in a way that lets you win like as you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a boss that's supposed to make you feel like you're fucked, but then slowly you realize like, oh, it's really not that hard. Unlike Sans, where Sans is consistently hard throughout and nothing ever changed. Like you have to have skill to beat Sans.
Yeah.
It's funny. The last thing I'll say about that boss before you move on, when I first saw that clip of that boss, I thought that was fan made. Like not gonna lie, I thought it was fan made.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on where you put the line of fan made, right? Because the Undertale, it was a fan made game inspired by Earthbound, right? So like, it definitely has that vibe.
Because I was so confused because there was a lot of fan-made like videos on Undertale when it first came out, and there was like this fan-made like Sans like boss fight that I thought was real, and I was like, the comments were like, "Oh no, this is fake as fuck." So I was like,
well, I mean, a lot of people just made Sans look even harder in those fan animations. I'm just seeing why my headset's beeping. Okay, it was just like desync you while I was in the bathroom. I guess I got too far away.
So A tier for Omega Flowey. Next we have GLaDOS.
Yeah.
GLaDOS from Portal. So I put this in here just because she's like a legendary
villain.
But honestly though, like, so I replayed that game. Every aspect of that game holds up, with the exception, I think, of that boss battle. It's not bad, but like that game was not meant for combat, right? Like the puzzles are where that game shines.
Okay.
Really, like the entirety of that boss battle is just like redirecting rockets that are being shot into her with the portals, and then
that sounds boring.
Yeah, it's a very boring boss battle.
Yeah.
The fun of that game is the portal mechanics and fucking with the physics. The boss
So we're
battle
putting
itself,
D tier?
I wouldn't put it at trash, but I'd put it right above at like D or C.
D tier. Anyone argue against that?
I say D, just simply because as memorable and as legendary as GLaDOS is as a character, I honestly think like Red said, like
should have been better for sure.
Well, the boss with her should have been better, and also the fact is that game made physics fun. And you would think that a game based around nothing but physics, those physics would take it more than like redirecting missiles, kind of like a Half-Life style.
That reminds me of X7 boss fights. Those X7 boss fights were horrendous. Oh my god.
So yeah, it's a D for me as well.
All right,
yeah, and like I do want to clarify because like I recently got the collection on the Switch, and that game holds up so well. I had so much fun with that game, but the boss battle was not it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also like a 7-hour game max too.
Oh no, the first one is like 2 hours. The Portal 2 is the longer one.
Yeah, but like you can beat that collection in like 7 max. You know, it's just unfortunately short. Now going through in co-op mode, however, that can take for fucking ever because you can fuck with your friends.
What's next?
And then the only other thing, because I only got like 5 minutes left until we're at the restaurant here, so I'm just gonna say Sans. My thing with Sans is it's like the perfect. It's got everything, right? It's super challenging, but it feels fair. And I like it when boss battles tie into like the narrative so well, right? So like with him, he's fully aware that you are a player, and that he's fully aware of the mechanics of the game. I have a whole video that I've uploaded to like Kontrolled Khaos years ago, just like ranting about how
God, that was like when we lived together. You made that video.
Yeah.
That was one of your like first edited like super projects before you did the or was that after the Hisoka video?
It was after.
I don't remember fully.
It was definitely
it was just kind of a rant I did. But either way, what's so good about that is that like he is aware that you're a player, and the narrative of Undertale is if you continue this path of like this genocide route, the whole file will be destroyed. And so from him as like a game character who's aware that he's a game character, he's like, if you beat me, nothing is stopping you from destroying our whole world, because he's aware that he's a game character in a game world. So I need to be like the most rage quitty, like he literally, like he's meta about this. He's like, I need to make you rage quit. Like that my job here is to make you rage quit, to be as unfair as possible, to come off as like an unbeatable boss. That is his whole job. But really, and the game describes him as this. He actually only has 1 HP. Very funnily, the game actually, when you look at his info, it's like the weakest character. He only has 1 HP, but that's because he's the only character in the game who dodges your hits. Every other character just stands there and gets hit. But he dodges. So like, what was I gonna say? So that's his whole thing, right? And then once you beat him enough, he actually like just stands there on his turn, making no moves, because again, he's aware of the mechanics of the game. He's aware of the menus, the mechanics,
Did you
everything.
really put Heihachi in there?
So he just stands there, and he's like, "All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna stand here, and it'll never be your turn, ever. So you'll have to quit, and you won't beat me. And the only way you beat him is what's up?
When he falls asleep.
Yes, he falls asleep, and then you're able to move your cursor and like move the menu with it, so you can get to the button to kill. It's so clever, where it goes beyond like it feels like you're playing in like a fourth dimension, where like you're no longer like moving a character to kill someone. You're fucking around with like UI menus to kill someone in a way that feels like you shouldn't be allowed to. It feels like you're breaking the game, but it's built right into the game. I fucking adore shit like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sans boss fight is definitely an S tier. Of course, I haven't played the game, but I've seen the boss fight plenty of times, and
Death Battle and everything else.
I've seen for someone whose favorite part about video games is to find out as bosses. I think his is pretty good, especially for a new age game.
Yeah, like it was one of those like first real indie darling titles that really took off and made indies feel like a valuable asset to the world of gaming, and it was literally a fan project, like you said earlier, and that's what's so memorable about something like that. So I think it's very much that S tier boss, and I think you've reached your destination there as well, Red.
Oh, can you tell? Are you?
I heard your keys, so.
Oh,
yeah.
Goddamn!
I will say though,
I have THX spatial sound on right now, so I can hear a fucking footprint.
I will say though.
Can I give you a fun fact, David? Remember that one time when we lived together and you did this weird thing where like you linked my number to yours when you got an Uber, so I would know when you got to your destination?
Yeah.
I still get those texts.
Oh my god, that is so annoying. I am so sorry. So you knew when I was arriving at JFAX when we were there. I have deprogrammed that shit like 17 million times, and it still stays linked no matter what. It's so fucking ass.
I love you. Enjoy the video. Last thing I'll say too is, in that same vein, I love bosses that like break like meta and fourth wall shit. So like Psycho Mantis, when he makes your fucking controller rumble and talks to you about the games he plays, that's so good.
Could you imagine if they actually renovated that mechanic for modern day on Steam, where there's like a whole category for hentai, the judging. You played Futanari Dash. How dare you?
Let's look at your hentai bags.
Look at all these terabytes worth of porn.
You have a whole folder full of nothing but fucking Palutena hentai. How dare you?
Let's open one of these and send it to your mother.
Oh god.
Oh god.
You can literally do that with a computer. You can literally do that.
Imagine if you had like your social media logged in and you just sent a fucking folder of porn to your boss.
Alright, I'll see you later, boys.
Yeah.
See you later.
That's
So
terrifying. Let's never renovate any Metal Gear game ever.
It could be worse. It could be just Monica.
Oh God.
True.
Oh, God,
So
no.
Luke, Luke, you said you haven't played Undertale. What about you, Andrew? Do you agree with Sam's being S tier?
I've got to say, Undertale is on the Switch now, so I can easily get it. The same with Portal, so I'll probably get it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'd recommend Undertale just because of the legacy. Portal, wait till it's on sale. It's not worth $30.
I feel like that'd be more fun with friends than anything.
Okay. But
So
I will say this. Sans' picture, it looks like a new like troll face, doesn't it?
A little bit.
He is definitely the joke, but also
the
fourth wall breaky character.
So why don't we move on to one that we all know? Let's start with the big boy himself, Ganondorf. Where the fuck are you at? Where are you carrying? I'm not gonna lie. I'm putting Ganon. I think he should be A tier. A tier or B
It would
tier.
all depend on what version of Ganon as well.
Yeah.
So we can argue. This is the first time we can actually argue. Okay, so I know Red said he wanted to put Ocarina of Time, but that's too easy. This is Kontrolled Chaos. We like to challenge ourselves. So let's just do it from Ganon as a boss as a whole. From his shitty iterations.
If we're going to talk like SNES era, like it was very much more mechanical in the fight. It was one of those that you go in and you go through the motions. But as the series progressed, you got more weapons, more ways to defeat him as a boss, and he mattered more to the plot overall than just being the big bad. I kidnapped the princess kind of thing.
Yeah, and he wasn't always, the pig boss. That was only like, the early years and like final forms and everything. Whereas, when they first started 3D in Ocarina and then put them in Twilight Princess and everything.
Twilight Princess boss fight was so magical because it was so mechanically built too.
It was.
Are we counting Demise's boss fight?
Had the story with that too, which kind of made it like you're fighting for something,
Are we counting Demise's boss fight as well towards that?
Oh yeah.
Because I thought that boss fight, and that boss fight looked really fun.
It is. Really good. It was honestly, it's controversial, but I think that was a better game than fucking Breath of the Wild.
Which one?
Really?
Twilight Princess, because Breath of the Wild, it was one of those games where it was meant to be open world, but it was so barren. I think I talked about this during this last stream too. Like
you did.
It was so.
Do you think it's going to be the same for Scarlet and Violet? Like they class it as open world, but it's not really.
It's going to be like a semi-open world, like a linear path. It would feel like, but at the same time, it would be more broad and it kind of incorporate things like the wild areas in a way. I would assume they're going to kind of expand on that mechanic. But we don't really know too much about like the overall like universe yet for that. Okay. But I feel like Nintendo doesn't know how to properly do an open world game.
Not yet, anyway. I think they're learning. I think the sequel will be better. So what are we thinking about putting Ganon?
I think if we incorporate every version of Ganon, he'd be more of a B. More of a B.
A or B.
I'd say that's fair. And I've just got to say the death scene for Ganon in Wind Waker, I think it is probably his best death because he sees the sword coming down.
All right, so we're thinking what A or B?
Yeah.
What are we deciding?
We can do B.
Okay,
yeah,
B
B
it
is
is.
fine.
Yeah, fuck you, Ganon. All right, so next up, do you want to start going in order now?
I think we should. I think one that we should do here, and I'm kind of glad we didn't incorporate like Elden Ring bosses too, because if we want to really get trolly, like how the fuck you say like Melania in fucking Elden Ring, the final boss of that would be S tier just on mechanics alone, because it is such a infuriating boss fight. But it is so rewarding when you finally won that. I think that fits Lingering Will.
So what do we switch to?
Right here, Lingering Will.
Lingering Will. All right.
So this is a boss that will make you smash your controller.
This is Kingdom Hearts
God.
3?
This is Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh,
It
shit.
is the secret boss from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh god.
And Andrew and I, being like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts fans, know secret bosses in a Square Enix game
Ass.
are the
Yeah.
most
They
painful
brought it to
exist.
Mario RPG too.
Oh.
Colex.
Oh, I forgot about that. That would have been a good one. But I would rather beat my head against the wall and never play that again.
God, yeah.
Lingering Will is a boss I've only beat twice in the entire time that game has been out, and both times I fucking cheesed it. I'm not proud to say that, but I'm proud to say I beat the damn bastard.
Where are you tearing this boss right now? from what
Mm.
you're
I never
describing,
played
it's gonna be an ass
Lingering Will.
fight.
So I
I-
wouldn't really know.
I just
the
recommend
theme.
I recommend watching like the glitches for that, and just to see
Okay.
how people break the game to beat him.
So it's a C tier.
I'd say ass fights just because it's so cheap, but I do love him and think he's the most rewarding experience.
Okay,
So I'd say he's a B, because there is technically
okay.
one boss fight that's better than that, but I didn't include it on this list simply because it's a spoiler for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
Okay.
So next up, let's do Bowser. So we've all played
Okay.
Mario games. We've all seen
Yeah.
Bowser games.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Bowser is an S tier. Like
Ye-
Mario Galaxy.
Excuse
boss fights
me?
Alone,
The
Mario-
door is right there.
Mario Galaxy
Yeah,
boss
he
fights
is
alone.
not S tier.
Galaxy fight,
You-
bro. Fighting
You can
Bowser.
say S tier.
Galaxy alone, I would say you're right.
S tier.
Yeah.
Because fighting him through after like the bot like the through the black hole at the end of 2, fighting him on the planet, Mario 64, the Paper Mario games, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
He has great incarnations, but overall, he is a pushover.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
but so is
Very
Ganon, though,
easily killable
technically.
as well.
But
Can I
Ganon has more of a challenge in his mechanics.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that.
Can I
like,
can
how-
I just say something? Mario 64. All you have to do is beat. to
So
beat him
long, Bowser.
is go behind him, grab his tail, and swing him around.
But to be fair, though, Luke,
Exactly.
we're out of the new age. Back in that time, that probably was the
That was
hardest part of the game.
that was revolutionary back then. But if
Yeah.
we're talking overall, like we did with Ganon, like
Overall, but I'm
Just the
thinking though, like,
iterations and everything.
I think
it's-
Bowser has the most creative boss fights compared to like most on this list.
Yes,
Just because
but
of how.
very, very samey almost.
Yeah.
like,
Okay, that's fair.
literally,
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
literally, again going back to it, Mario 64. It's the same structure all 3 times you face
Yeah.
him.
But to be
Yeah,
fair though,
and
like
also,
if
you
we're
gotta
if we're
beat 'em
using like
3 times.
if we're like using like the 3D boss fights for
Mhm.
him, I think that alone puts him at A tier at least. Like we're not using like the side scroller like Super Mario Bros. Type
Mhm.
where they're the same. But if we're talking like Mario
Mhm.
Odyssey, Mario Galaxies,
Yeah.
Mario Sunshine, shit
It-
like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
They
And-
make his boss
And I've got to
fights
say
very
this
unique.
as well about Bowser. He had what Ganon has over him is that he does not have a live action version of him.
Well, not yet anyway.
I want. Didn't they said who's playing Bowser in the
Let me
Mario
get it
movie?
all.
Yeah, Jack Black, I think.
I thought
Yeah,
Jack Black was. Oh, I thought.
Donkey Kong?
Oh no,
No.
I'm not talking about the new one. I'm talking about the one with
Oh God.
Dustin Hoffman. I think it was Dustin Hoffman.
Oh,
Okay.
we don't
Either way,
count
we're
the
not-
'90s movie.
we're
That
not
doesn't
talking about that
exist.
stuff.
We're counting it now. We are
No.
counting that movie now.
No. Okay, at least not S tier, A tier, at least. Above Ganon.
I would say just because there's more incarnations of him as a character, I would give you that.
Like, the Mario Galaxy fights for him
Yeah.
alone. Like, fighting him on planets and shit. Like, him punching down the planet and shit. Like, the mechanics of the boss
Mhm.
fights. Like, come on.
But I'd still say overall he is the weaker character.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's Mario. It's Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Miyamoto, you would have an argument for S. But
And then-
since Miyamoto wants to cuck every character in that franchise, it's just
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And I haven't even included talk about Paper Mario, fighting him in Paper Mario. Like, that fight was great with the Star Rod and shit. And Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, fighting him in that. Like, come on. Bowser. Like,
I'll give him A. I'll
Okay, so A?
reluctantly give him A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will as well.
Okay,
Andrew?
Yeah, that's a fucking A.
Let's
a
go.
reluctant A. How about Taboo?
Okay. Taboo, I
Which
want to
one's
put
Taboo?
from Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Super Smash Bros.
So
Brawl.
Taboo,
Oh, I've never played a Smash Brothers game.
I
Yeah.
am conflicted on this one because Taboo's presence, similar to Aizen, was really good, especially for the Subspace Emissary. However, his boss fight,
Was weak.
I mean, like, it's okay. Because, like,
There was barely, like, mechanically. Well, mechanically, Brawl in general was ass.
I want to put him at C, but I want to put him at B
And
just because of
they
his
also
presence
have-
alone.
They had the tripping mechanic.
Yeah,
That was some bullshit in and of itself.
the tripping mechanic just ruined that game competitively.
Definitely.
Good.
But I will say, roster-wise, for that era,
Mhm,
that
pretty
was
good.
magical.
Oh, definitely, because you had Sonic and then Snake
Mhm.
from
Who
Sega
you would-
and Konami.
Which you
were-
thought would have never happened at that time.
Exactly.
But overall, like, Taboo did have that Aizen-like mystique where he's just this
Yeah.
threatening presence, but he just had zero payoff.
Yeah, I mean, the thing
Yeah.
is about him, too, was, and when it comes to the actual boss fight, the boss fight was fun, I suppose.
Mhm.
It was
It
definitely
was
more
fun,
unique.
but it can also be a little forgettable sometimes. It's one of
Yeah.
those. Oh, you mentioned Taboo. Oh, that's Brawl. I
Mhm.
can't remember how the fight goes.
Yeah, because, like, I think the more memorable stuff about him was just the fact that, like, he fucked up Master Hand, he fucked up Ganon, he took all these worlds and made it into a maze, and then, like,
Mhm.
he got fucked up by Sonic, shit like that. Like, that stuff was very memorable
Mhm.
at the time, but his boss fight was very Super Smash-like,
Mhm.
and he was unique. Like, he had a lot of cool moves. He was tough on higher difficulty.
Right.
But I mean, like, you can't really compare, like, let's be honest, like, Master Hand and the earlier versions now are probably more fun of a boss fight. than
Yeah.
Taboo.
And, like, we don't even talk about the story mode for the Switch.
Yeah. So, like,
No.
I didn't even, what's that nigga's name? Atem? No, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Shit.
Yeah,
What's
that's
his-
Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't remember.
It's
What's-
something, yeah.
Gleam,
and I
Gleam, or
played through
Gleam
the
or some
fucking
shit.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, get this. I played through the entire adventure mode of the Switch Smash Bros. Game, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just to change the menu music.
That's the only reason why I play it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. Oh.
I did
Yeah,
it just to change it, and then I never went back to that bitch.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was so lackluster, and for what could
Yeah.
be the final Smash Brothers, that's
Yeah.
not a
I
good.
mean,
That's not a good legacy to leave it out
like,
on.
You guys remember what Sakurai said when he was making Smash 4? Everyone asked if the story mode would come back. He was like, he didn't want it to come back because he didn't want to see the cutscenes on YouTube and it to spoil people. And I'm just like, have you
Yeah.
been on the internet, Sakurai?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, like, the fake Sakurai account was my meme fuel, where, like, everybody was making horny versions of it. Like, you had, like, Link inside of Zelda's ass and everything, and
because
it's so
the
ridiculous.
thing is about the Subspace Emissary is that it was revolutionary for its time,
Hmm.
especially
On a
with, like,
very limiting platform.
Yeah, and the fact that it had barely any voice acting, but it could still tell a coherent story
Hmm.
was pretty good for what it's worth.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just a shame in the little payoff for it, you know.
Because I mean, the best part about a crossover is seeing characters from different universes
Mhm.
interact, and I like how the fact that when you had to pick between saving Zelda and Peach, and then you have like Mario and Link fight over like Peach and Zelda.
Hmm.
You know, then you have like Pit with Mario and like Link with Yoshi.
It,
Like,
it was a magical idea.
With no voice acting, mind you. Like,
Right,
no voice acting
that
whatsoever.
was what was so awesome about it, right? Because you had basically zero voice acting, and at the same time you had this wonderful like crossover story. And again, like you're 100% spot on there, Thurman. Like that type of storytelling is what makes a crossover magical, because you have those character interactions from franchises that should never theoretically be together. Like at that time, like having Sonic and Snake in the same story is a fever dream, because these are two companies that held every asset close to the chest for so long. Like you would never see those types of characters in anything other than like their own universe's crossover, a Sega property or a Konami property, you know. And then you have them coming into this fighting game where it's all Nintendo, and these are rival companies at the end of the day, because Nintendo being one of the big three, and Nintendo having buried Sega in the fucking 90s basically. you That's an insane thought process. Like you have but Taboo as a character, nah.
I probably put him at C.
Yeah.
And it's funny, really funny
Agreed.
too, because they actually make Snake really important in the story, and he was a guest character, and Sonic literally only showed up at the end.
Right. It's
That
kind of like Kingdom Hearts in a way.
yeah, where they had Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
And then canonically have Mickey Mouse lose his shirt in the prequel, because that happened.
I could imagine Sega. I can imagine that like conversation in like the Nintendo and Sega, the same way the conversation between Disney and Square Enix happened. Sega was just like, you can have Sonic in the story mode. He only shows up doing one thing. You shake his finger at Taboo, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the
friendo. Oh, can you take it?
I have no idea which one that is, so I'll let you take care of that.
All right. So do we agree, Andrew?
Luke? Yeah, I agree.
Taboo at C.
Yep.
I have no say on this. So
all right.
it's up to you
So
guys.
the next one, let's see here. Andrew, this is gonna be for you and me. M. Bison from
What was
Street
it?
Fighter. M. Bison from Street
M. Bison.
Fighter.
That's
Well, one thing I gotta
Okay.
say is it depends on the difficulty that you have them on.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because
Come off,
if you're
Mantho.
playing, let's just say we're going by normal difficulty.
Normal difficulty. You don't think he's that difficult?
Not that he is actually difficult, just base difficulty. You know.
Uh huh.
But he can become
like,
very, very overwhelming on
Yeah.
harder.
Because the thing is, Thurman, for you and I who are, you know, really big into the fighting game community, input reading.
Yes.
Input reading like a motherfucker.
And Street Fighter 2 had a huge flaw on this. And I think when it comes to Bison, I would put Bison on the same level as Bowser and Ganon, where it depends on the version and the iteration. Because Street Fighter 2, his Street Fighter 2 versions were probably the hardest versions.
Yeah.
The hardest and the cheapest.
Yes, bro. Flash
And
kick, not flash
because
kick.
and because, you know, Bison was the boss, he hit harder than the
Hard
others.
as hell. Hard as hell. And it's funny. Have you played Street Fighter Alpha? Him and Street Fighter Alpha when I was a kid.
Fuck that
fucking
shit.
Awful. Awful.
So
Yeah,
just
him and Street Fighter Alpha- God no.
that there was a cabinet at an arcade I used to go to when I was a kid for Alpha. I think it was like a MAME version, not some modified shit that they had there, because this
Not like Alpha 2 or Alpha 3.
no, it was just like somebody's custom cabinet they had made for this place, because it was somebody owned that my dad worked with.
Oh, okay.
So he was big into fighting games, so he just had a bunch of cabinets. He had like an MK4 one and an Alpha one. He had a bunch of other shit in there. He ended up closing it up when he retired, but it was fun. But I remember that fight in particular was just so fucking cheap.
Yeah.
And fucking twos, like you guys said, like that was just cheap as hell too. Like, but like as you grew older, he was a little bit harder, a little bit easier to understand, like how that kind of mechanic functioned, and now to reverse it and actually combat, even for somebody like me that's not as into like the Street Fighter games. I'm more into like the Mortal Kombat or the Tekken side of things, but like
Right.
those days were so much fun.
I forgot
Oh,
that
yeah.
Tekken boss. Holy
They
shit.
were really
You have
fun.
High Tree in there.
Do I really?
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you when Red was in here. Like, did
Yeah,
you really
okay.
add him? Because I didn't hear you
Yeah.
say him.
Yeah.
But
But
that
yeah, no, I agree with that. With how Bison, when you first get introduced to him as a kid,
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna quit now.
Yeah.
He was like.
Could you imagine if somebody's first game was like MK9?
God.
Oh
But it's
my
just like-
god.
But I will say though. Like,
Yeah, I have that version of Shao Kahn on here.
I want to put
Nice.
Bison at like B tier. 'Cause I think he's a good boss fight.
He's
But
just
I feel like as Street Fighter got more popular, they nerfed his boss like
Mhm.
stuff
Yes.
quite a bit. And I
Mhm.
think I think I put that against him because like
Yeah.
he's probably one of the most recognizable bosses in video games in general, close to like Bowser, Ganon, Dr.
Mhm.
Wily, Sephiroth, stuff like
Right.
that. So like it
But
feels
he
like,
did kind of go by the wayside too in like 4 and 5 as well.
Well, I mean, because Capcom's
Yeah,
trying to make
that,
it
and
more story
also-
now.
Yeah, they also made him a playable character, which really nerfed him down because
Yeah.
now he's a player, not a boss.
A boss,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
So like that's why I'm kind of like I want to put that against him.
Yeah, I'd say
Because,
B.
Like he should like I think B's good because like as a boss fight he's really fun and he's difficult, but as the series went on, his presence as a boss diminished compared to like Ganon, Sigma, Bowser, shit
Yeah.
like that.
I agree. I agree. B's good.
Yeah. All right. So
Oh.
let's do one. Let's do one of Luke's so he can interchime here.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
So where is so where this one right here is one of his, right? That's the
That's what boss is at.
Which one?
I believe this is your Heart of Darkness.
Oh my god, the one that was next to Whitney.
Yep.
Yeah, this. Okay. This
Go ahead, Luke.
mother fucking level
When a Brit
scarred-
cusses, you know it's heated.
scarred
About
me
that one?
as a kid.
A little bit,
as
yeah.
a kid.
I don't know about that one.
PC
Okay.
version and soon to be PlayStation version. Okay, so to give you some context about the game in general, it's basically by the same guy who were involved with Prince of Persia and Out of This World. So it's by that same guy.
Okay.
And basically, this kid's dog gets kidnapped, goes to an alien world, and it's more of a puzzle platformer game, but it has creatures that you can fight as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the difficulty curves in this game are so ludicrous, but nothing compares to the final stretch of the game when you get into the dark layer of the Master of Darkness, especially this infamous final battle. Because, all right, so to give you, there's 4 sections to this battle. If you get hit once, you start all over again. So to start off, you have a weapon, you have a gun, but the gun is one of those guns where the laser is going all over the place. It's never in a straight line. You have-
90s
Yes.
games were so annoying sometimes.
Yes, and that's just the beginning of the problem of just how infamously frustrating this level is. So you have these guys who you blast apart, and they blow apart, and they leave two like brainy bubbles. If you don't destroy the bubbles in time, they multiply endlessly, and they shoot out fireballs.
Oh
that's
my
just-
god.
That's just the first section. If you go and watch that video that I have sent about Heart of Darkness, you'll know how painful it is.
God damn.
That's just the first section. The second section is not as brutal as that, but you have like the main minions, the shadow creatures, who can fly over your head, and one gets
Oh.
behind you, one gets in front of you, and they can just grab you in an instant. So you have to be really paying attention to them. There's like a bajillion of them. And then you get to the Master of Darkness, who spits 2 fireballs at once.
Okay, so now I remember exactly what game this is. So
You remember in
Oh.
Hellvex.
Brass, my friend.
nice.
So,
So
yeah, this level just like just made me
Oh,
so
right, we're still
frustrated
going.
so many times.
So, I remember this simply from the cover. When you said Heart of Darkness, I'm like, oh, I have a vague idea. And now
What game
that
is it from?
So it's from this game here, Thurman. You probably remember this cover as well. Because it's notoriously one of those, like, early PS1 games.
Oh.
And
So-
it's fucking Interplay, so it's already mechanically a nightmare.
So where are you tiering this boss fight,
I am
Luke?
just for the sheer difficulty and ludicrous. This is an S tier battle.
Yeah, like
S-tier?
because it has that 90s mechanics where nothing works right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
the
pre
controls are just so
it's pre-patching, it's pre anything like that. So yeah, I agree, because like these types of games, like these arcadey, platformery, but also like survivally style games, especially in that era, were always fucking broken until like a greatest hits re-release came out where they could do like little tweaking and shit.
Are
Yeah,
you ever gonna get that for that game?
fuck no. It has a 4.5 rating, man.
Oh,
oh my god! But yeah,
It
I
got
still-
merged
I
into
still
another
enjoy- I
studio.
still enjoyed playing the game, but just that final section of just the like afterwards when it got to the cutscene, I was just like,
I'm fucking done, finally.
I'm
Like
done.
me while I was dealing with fucking Ansem the other night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's funny.
But I will say as well, like, what makes it so difficult as well is just the control is so stiff. Like, when you try to dodge the fireballs, it's like, oh, that is ridiculous. I jumped right
Remember
there.
the races in Jack and Daxter 1?
Mhm.
It's kind of like that, kind of stiff.
Ew.
It's kind of that
Ew.
stiff.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
The racing mechanic in Jack 2 is like so nasty.
Yeah.
The
But like
the missions,
those, and then like in Jack 1 where you're going around grabbing the orbs and shit, and like especially like that first level where you're trying to get 100% completion, and you have to get the jumps and then get over here and then go over. Yeah, that
it's funny,
shit.
now I'm
Yeah.
remembering bosses from games. We could add Braxis to this.
Oh god, no.
Part 2's gonna be fire.
The part 2 is gonna be rants.
Alright, so
I
what's
think,
next?
I think part 2 should just be like the games that infuriate us the most.
All right. So what are we doing next?
So just an entire hour-long rant of Chain of Memories. Got it.
Oh,
So
God.
yeah, I am putting it just for the sheer
Yeah,
difficulty.
I'll give you
Alright.
S on that one.
So how do we do
let's do one of
Andrews?
yeah, let's do one of Andrews here. Let's do Sephi.
Separate. Are we doing a whole thing?
Oh,
all
is this
separate?
Sephiroth from Kingdom Hearts?
This is Sephiroth from Kingdom Hearts 2
But we're doing-
specifically.
okay.
I
We're
will say
doing
this.
the-
I will say this. A friend of mine was hoping that he would be on here.
Oh, yeah, well, Sephiroth is notoriously one of those bosses, and especially in like Kingdom Hearts, where he's just a jackass.
Okay, so my opinion on Sephiroth as a villain. Well, not villain, no, boss fight. I have to put him. I don't think he's S tier because, like I said, he's on the same realm of Bowser, Ganondorf, and Bison. Different iterations, stuff like
Right.
that. I will say though,
But there's not a lot of iterations though. That's the
Mhm.
thing.
I will say though, out of all the four that I mentioned, besides Bowser, I think Sephiroth's boss fights. Well, because I mean, obviously different genres.
Mhm.
You have fighting games, two platformers,
Yeah.
and then he's JRPG. But I will say
Right.
his boss fights, I would say, are more pleasing to look at because, like Supernova, and
Oh yeah.
he like his presence as a boss stayed there. So I think he's above Bison,
Mhm.
and I think
Yes.
he's above Ganondorf. I cannot put him above Bowser.
I 100% will put his ass about Bowser. I will fucking veto your ass out of this room.
I put
I
him
will
in
have
A
to actually
tier.
put him above Bowser, mostly because one, in the Final Fantasy game, like you know of him throughout the story, and you realize just how important he is to that story.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh well. In the first couple of hours, you learn that he was a great soldier, and then but he's bad for some reason. Then you kind of learn about why he's so evil and everything.
And you
And,
can sympathize with him to some extent.
To some extent, yes.
Yeah.
And then you see just how powerful he got, and you're like, oh, the world can end. We have to put a stop to him.
Mhm.
True.
And-
True.
And then you get the Kingdom Hearts lore, where he's just there to fuck with Cloud. He's there to fuck with Sora and everyone.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And
True. But are we gonna
when you
compare that to his like enjoyment of battle games as a boss as well? We have to count that too as well. Compared to
There-
like,
there
say,
are-
Ganondorf and Bowser.
yeah, so in
Mechanically,
Final Fantasy
he's
VII,
more
Yeah.
fun.
yes,
my opinion.
7 was like fun but hard boss battle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you get the various stages. You get its first form, second form,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Final Fantasy
when
Classic.
you defeat that supernova form, his his
Genova?
angel form.
Mm-hmm.
What was
Then
that?
it's that last stand between Cloud and Sephiroth in the heart of the planet.
You
Where
also
you-
see Cloud fucking breaks space and time.
Yes,
So
just to save the world, and
So let me-
that's when you get to unleash Omnislash on Sephiroth.
That's cool.
which-
That's a cool scene. That's a cool
Oh yeah,
scene.
which really gives you that satisfaction of holy shit, I did it. Holy
Okay,
shit, this is
fair enough.
amazing.
Fair enough. Let me ask you this
And
though:
then-
is he in the remake?
he is.
Yeah.
So does
he
that
is.
boost his tiering?
Ooh.
Does that boost
I
his
think
tiering or
part
lower it?
2 will raise him significantly because you
Yeah.
see.
But it's not here yet.
Well,
Not yet.
in what we've seen so far from it, it's going to give a
From-
deeper backstory of
Yeah.
Sephiroth as well, and I think the Crisis Core remake will also weigh in a little bit
Yes,
too.
So I'm giving him an A
from what
tier.
I've seen of and heard from
Where-
Maximilian Dude,
Oh, okay.
apparently from how the camera is angled in that reveal trailer for part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Mm-hmm.
you're walking around as Sephiroth
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
rather than Cloud, because
All right.
Cloud's like vaulting over shit, and
Yeah,
it just seems like
it's
you're
a
more in control of Sephiroth this time, so you're gonna kind of walk around in his shoes for a little bit. So I think it's
Okay.
gonna switch off every now and then.
Mhm.
All right. So here's the thing. Right. I will, since it's 2 against 1, I will concede on him being below, behind Bowser. I'll put him in front of Bowser in A tier, but I don't think he's S tier.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think he's S
And
tier.
also, we've really been talking about Final Fantasy VII Sephiroth, but for the fights, the boss fights in Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts
Hearts.
2,
Mm-hmm.
specifically 2, I think.
because the moment you step in the ring and that that fight starts, you have a millisecond to press triangle to counter his attack.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
Really?
you're just
yeah.
Oh
dead.
no. Oh
It,
no.
it, it is
I shit
literally
you not.
like, it's like if you are not prepared for that fight, you are fucked.
Okay, I have
Yes.
to make sure
He
when I play through
uses
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Octoslash immediately.
Ooh, no.
Yes.
You are
Yeah.
dead, one hit killed if you are below
And-
a certain level.
You have to constantly counter, attack,
Mhm.
attack, counter. You
It
are
was-
dodging and everything.
It was on that's why like I was debating between like Sephiroth and Lingering Will for that, and I saw you had Sephiroth. I'm like, okay, I'll just put Lingering Will on it.
Right.
I think the Sephiroth is a more fair fight,
Mm-hmm.
but
Eh,
it's still bullshit, and it's a
It's
more
very
memorable. It is a more memorable fight because you have at that point, right? At that point in the story,
Mhm.
we're not going to count like Birth by Sleep and learning more about Lingering Will and everything like. We're not going to count anything from like Kingdom Hearts 3 or knowing any of that backstory. At that point, you know who Sephiroth is if you were a Square fan. You know what the
Exactly.
stakes are there, and you know how important beating him is. So-
So, an A tier?
Exactly.
I think he's an A or a low S. Just
Yes,
simply.
I think A. So
I think
okay. So
All right.
above, so put him above Bowser.
Mhm.
Actually, no, put Bowser above Flowey.
Yeah, we're going to reorganize
put-
this.
Yeah.
And then I gotta go down and grab
And
Sephiroth.
are we putting Lingering Will above Ganondorf or no?
Yes, we are. We're going to reorganize this now that we have some semblance of a ranking system. M Bison's
Okay.
the weakest here, and we're going to switch this
Do
around.
Andrew, do you agree in Bison above Ganon or no? or leave it as is?
I think what we have on the screen is that like 1, 2, 1,
Can
2,
they see
3.
the screen?
They should be able to see the screen. Let me make sure they can see the screen though. 1 second. Here.
I'm actually on my phone, so I don't think I can.
You probably still can. Yeah, probably easier for them to see the screen.
Yeah.
Luke, are you still there?
We want to see create a boss fight. Go
Okay.
live.
Let us
There
know
we-
if you can see the screen.
Ah, there we
There
go.
you should.
Perfect. Okay.
Hold on.
So do you everyone agree
Yeah, I
with
can
this so
see the
far?
screen.
So
yeah,
it goes like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1.
yeah, I can see the screen.
So is
Okay.
that, do you all agree on this before we continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next one. Okay. So we'll do another one of mine.
Okay.
Let's do another Mario villain, the Dark Star. So
Ew.
Okay.
the Dark Star from Bowser's Inside Story, I have to say, is an S because
disagree heavily.
of course you do.
I'll
Mario
let you
hater.
two take this.
Okay, so the reason why the Dark Star's presence in the Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story game is probably one of the best
Mm-hmm.
presences because you can feel the presence of him. Because like at the start of the game,
Mhm.
there's this curse, that's
Mhm.
crowding the Mushroom Kingdom. And I actually should have put Flawful on here too because he was playing 5D chess the whole game as well. But I put the Dark Star in here because the sheer presence of this character, like
Right.
he was sealed away for a long time, and what made him great was because he literally stole Bowser's DNA. Now imagine an ancient evil, and then stealing Bowser, who's already a troublesome villain, stealing his DNA and getting his powers, giving Mario Luigi trouble, and giving Bowser trouble, and then turning into Dark Bowser, which literally, if they didn't beat him, he was literally surrounding the whole Mushroom Kingdom in a cyclone-like vortex that was trapping people in it. And not to mention, the boss fight was very unique because you had two phases: the Bowser phase and the Mario Luigi phase, where you had to beat the shit out of him as Bowser, and then you had to beat the shit out of his core in Bowser's stomach.
Mhm.
So that alone, plus his final battle music, made by the same composer of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
So
Most of those Mario RPGs had some sort of a Square composer or former Square composer.
So, for me, presence, combat, and just sheer
I still think that was the
enjoyment.
weakest of the Mario and Luigi
I
RPGs.
I mean, the first one had Falafel. He was okay. The third one, Falafel was better. The second one had the fucking mushroom aliens, and that was cool, I guess. But the sisters were mid, and then
I thought it had better mechanics though.
well, yeah, but really,
It's also again a Mario game.
yeah, but it's just Mario Partners in Time, what's good, I guess. But it's just if you compare Dark Star boss fight to the sisters boss fight,
That's fair.
it was just okay.
Boss fight's a boss fight. Dark Star
Yeah.
was better, but I think story and
I
mechanically.
will say though, the one thing I will say, against the Dark Star boss fight, is I guess it was kind of easy, but to be fair though, it was only easy if you played it the second time. The
Yeah.
first time it was kind of challenging because you didn't know what the fuck to do. But if you already played it, it got easier as you played it because you knew what the fuck to do.
Well, that and you also were immensely more leveled up.
Yeah. So I will put it a knock for that, but I still think it's a low S because
I think it's a high A.
So what do you? Have you played Mario Luigi Bowser's Story, Andrew?
Nope.
What about
I
you,
have
Luke?
Me
not.
neither.
All right, so we're gonna flip a coin. The one for A, one for
Ooh.
S.
All right, somebody.
Anyone have a-
I have a fucking flip coin over here.
Not a double-headed coin.
No, I have from my Rainbow Six days. I have a challenge coin here.
All
I've
right.
not even opened this.
You fucking nerd.
Hey, I was good at Siege one
All
time.
right, so I call it heads.
Just the one time.
And you got heads, so
All right, so he's an S tier. Let's go.
Yeah.
we'll just keep that out in case we get to that.
I'll probably put him behind that boss right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's do.
Let's do Alduin.
Okay.
Just to get him out of the way.
I haven't played Skyrim since all you guys.
So Alduin, presence-wise, is fucking terrifying.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I agree. Isn't Alduin the first? Like, isn't he the dragon right at the beginning?
Yep, where he right at the
Yeah.
execution, he comes
Yeah.
down. You start learning shouts. You go. You got to kill party snacks or side against the blades. Then you go kill Alduin. Or
Which
you
is
get
funny
stuck in a loop of doing side quests forever, like most of us.
Yeah.
Or with me when I just adopt the children and just be like, I just hear they're a big bully.
You turn into a mother from Promised Neverland.
But yeah,
I had to go there. I couldn't resist.
yeah, you had to.
But no, like overall, like he is not a challenging boss by any stretch of the imagination.
No, he's only challenging if you don't move out of the way of his dragon of his fire.
Like he is on par with like a legendary dragon in that game, and that's what's so depressing about Skyrim is boss wise until you get to like the DLC, bosses are bullshit easy. Like you can go in there and one shot if you play that game right, you can one shot every enemy in the game.
Yeah.
It also is. It also falls to the fact that the creation engine is a broken pile of dog shit, where you can just manipulate the ever loving hell out of it.
And if you also have mods on.
I'm just over here with Guts Sword, just going through and one shotting.
Yeah.
Or you're just there with turn God mode on.
I definitely have not done that, Luke.
Oh really?
Don't pull up any footage, please.
I wouldn't.
I hate going through especially the Maverin's Razor dungeon in Oblivion. I hate going through that, so I just TGM that entire dungeon. Because you're going through like 7,000 rooms in that, looking for the little tiny things to reassemble the Razor, and it's just fucking stupid. But no, like that. Every boss in Skyrim is so much easier than anything else in the Elder Scrolls franchise.
Yeah. The most fun I've had with playing Skyrim is just going around and exploring.
Mm-hmm. On an exploration basis, that game is magnificent. You can just get lost in it. You can RP the living hell out of it. It really does fit that niche of an RPG of just going in and fulfilling whatever dumb role you want.
It feels like they did the exploration first, and then they were like, oh crap, we don't have a story.
They really did shoehorn the story in, and it does feel like that. Until like the DLCs, and then it's like, okay, there was something here that you just cut from probably Crunch, but that, and it's the same way with fucking Fallout 4. Like both of those games, like the base games of them were just so lackluster, and then the DLC filled in what you needed. So I'd say Alduin as a boss is a C.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
I agree.
And hopefully Elder Scrolls 6, whatever your boss is better.
Yeah. The most challenging bit for me
Miraak.
No, for me is when you're in that party.
Oh god. The Daedra shit was weird in that.
Yeah. But that party section, that was more difficult than Alduin.
Yeah. I still say like Miraak's boss fight was more challenging as well. Just because
No, I know what else is more challenging. Where you have to frame that guy for stealing something. That is more challenging.
You know, like the like side quests were a lot more in that realm of, oh shit, what am I doing? Just simply because a lot of them fell into like old school like Morrowind. At least in vanilla Skyrim, the Legendary Edition kind of fleshed them out a little bit more of like what to do. But like early on, especially on the PS3 version, if you played that, you know what I mean. One thing goes wrong in your save file and you're completely fucked. So
I can attest.
I had the moonwalking dragon glitch where they would just go backwards through the sky, and it looked like they were just shitting fire instead of actually shooting it out of their mouth. I wish I had an Elgato back then just to capture like the dumb glitches I encountered. I fell through mountains. I had a fucking ogre basically One Punch Man style me across it, and the game did not kill me. I just infinitely flew through the map and looped completely back to where I died.
But in the words of Zero Punctuation, get a horse in Skyrim. They don't give a toss.
They really don't. Now, Witcher,
Also-
they're just stuck on the roof.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of One Punch Man, have you seen the latest chapter of
That
that?
is
You
insane.
already know.
That is
I
insane.
understand it.
He's
I
finally
understand
getting serious, Saitama.
We needed a serious Saitama for a while
it. You
now.
guys put him in C tier? Damn, where have I been?
Yeah, we've put him in C tier.
Well, he's
Alright, what's
he's a
next?
pushover, so he goes in there. We'll do some more banners because he has that appointment. So let's go
Okay.
through and just so he can make that.
What else did he put in?
He had in. Let me pull up his list real quick. Let me go into the group
He
chat.
did Ganon.
Yeah. Well, that was also
Uh,
technically Rad's.
Yeah.
So he had Yami from Okami.
All right.
So we'll do that one.
Go ahead, Andrew. You have the floor.
All right. Yami from Okami was really shocking to watch. Not like shocking as in like, oh god, that's horrifying, but more of like, what the fuck am I looking at? I'm fighting a ball.
Yeah.
But as you got, when you go to start the fight, all your powers get taken away. Like
Mhm.
all the powers that you've accumulated in that game get taken away. And you have to beat that first form in order to get, a power or two of yours back. So then you get that second form, which shifted and starts like going all sporadic and everything. And you have to find that rhythm to beat Yami.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get more and more of your powers back, then enters the third form, which is using like all of your abilities against you kind of thing. And even though it's like not quite the hardest boss to fight, it's still pretty enjoyable to get that feeling of, all right, I'm getting my shit all together. I'm beating the shit out of this boss after getting my stuff back, This is all right. This is fun, and you're kind of learning about this boss as you get to more towards the end of the Okami story.
Oh yeah.
And the boss design is really intriguing to me too, because it's a ball, then a hand, then a ball with like lightning tentacle things. But
So-
its weak point is like this fish in a fishbowl kind of thing.
Just from the phases alone, that boss fight was so much fun. I've only ever beaten the game
yeah.
way back on the PS2, I believe, was when it first
Yep.
came out. And back then, I was so fucking lost at what I was doing. But the most satisfying payoff for that early era of like PS2 gaming too, because you didn't really have rewarding experiences early on in the PS2 generation unless you were playing like an RPG or something. But for like an action-y, adventure-y, pseudo platform style game, and I had recently tried like early on when I started streaming, I tried playing it on PC, and it just does not translate well to PC at all.
Boy.
I
I actually replayed Okami recently, a couple months back, because it's one of those games where I played it for the PS2 and I beat it a couple times, because every time you beat it, well, the first like 2 or 3 times that you beat it, you get rewards in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You actually get like appearance skins for Amaterasu, the wolf that you play as.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I gotta beat this game again and again. See if I can get more shit,
Mm-hmm.
And then I played it for the PS4, and it gives you all of the items like all
Yeah.
at once rather than having to beat it a couple times.
Yeah,
But
I
even still,
I
it
did buy
is
the
very,
Xbox version of
very
it,
fun.
so I should
Oh,
probably
yeah.
go back and replay it, the Xbox One version, and
Yeah.
see.
It's actually funny. I only know of that boss because of Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, my man.
Yami's actually the main boss in that
Yup,
fighting game.
and he is
Broken as shit.
fucking hard in that one.
Broken
Yeah,
shit.
that
Like, the
was
three
that was
phases,
such
that was
that
fun
was
boss fight.
yeah, that was.
That was a fun
I forgot
boss
about
fight.
that till you mentioned
I
it.
put honestly,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest,
I still
yet.
have that. Like I bought that when I found a Wii at a Melt Trotter for $15. I'm like, all right, time to get some games.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't played Okami, but just from that boss fight alone, I'd probably put her at C or B. Honestly, that was a dope.
I would say he's a high C tier. I'd put him above Taboo.
I'd agree. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I wish they would make another Okami or something in that universe other than we don't give a fuck about the DS game. No.
No, but you saw the.
I could have sworn they've
survey.
been in talks about a second one, but it's just nothing's ever came to light.
Well, clearly they care about it. The survey.
Yeah, it was in the Capcom survey. So hopefully, if enough people wish for it, it will happen. Manifested into existence.
I mean, the fact that Okami,
a couple of fun facts. Okami was one of the games that my fiance and I actually bonded over when we first met.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah, like because she and I have never met anyone that actually knew about that game.
Yeah, it is one of those hidden gems.
Yeah, for
it really is.
So many fucking
the only way that she played it was on the Wii. I played it on the PS2.
The Wii port was so much fun because you could like draw it with it.
Yeah, and she loves that. You know, like you can move around and shit.
Well, I mean, her being an artist and all that makes sense.
Oh, hell yeah.
Definitely. She must have loved Scribblenauts then. Scribblenauts and Drawn to Life.
That
DS game, I think it's called Drawn Life or something.
Drawn to Life, yeah, I remember that game.
I don't know if that was like a spiritual successor to Scribblenauts, but
yeah,
I don't know which one came first.
Scribblenauts, I believe, came first, but they were pretty goddamn close together.
They were pretty close, but totally different playthrough.
All right,
let's get Whitney out of the way. Let's get the brick wall out of the way.
Oh, the fucking milk tank bitch.
Yeah,
C tier easily.
No, I have something to say. Like, as somebody that plays Pokemon, that just simply the way they enjoy it and has a team full of Pokemon that they like, she is a fucking ass to be.
I probably should have put some Pokemon bosses in here because there's way better bosses than her.
Well, we had talked about Red for one, but it was more of like we not seeing him in here.
What the fuck? I thought I had it Red in there.
We can put him in the next one.
Yeah, and like the bosses from the GameCube games.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, and also the Pokemon Stadium games.
Honestly, that bitch is like
no. Battle Coliseum was fucking dog ass.
Yeah.
I put her Whitney behind Taboo.
What needs to happen more than anything? Forget about Resident Evil 4 remake. I want the Pokemon.
I want Gale of Darkness.
I want Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Coliseum on the Switch.
I would love to see. Remember Battle Revolution for the Wii?
Yeah.
That one was such a pain in the ass because it was all basically rental. And the mechanics in that, just to try and move shit around, was so annoying. I would love to see that type of game though updated for the Switch as well, because like on paper the way they made it should work. They just had no way. They had no idea how to execute it. And they tried to copy the best parts of like Gale of Darkness, Coliseum, and Stadium all into one game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it was just poorly executed, and that game is still one of the more expensive ones on the Wii.
Yeah. They're all expensive. Like to get a GameCube, I'll just use England for example. It's like £70 for secondhand GameCube, plus for XD Gale of Darkness itself, £173 secondhand.
Yeah, Gale
Yeesh.
Gale of Darkness is fucking outrageous.
That's
Yeah.
why it needs to come out on the Switch. I mean, if they could do it for Grand Theft Auto, or if they could do it for Undertale,
Grand Theft
they
Auto, you
could-
don't want it to end up like the Grand Theft Auto port, so those were just broken.
No.
I'm just using them as
Yeah.
examples. Hell, if they could do it for Star Wars Jedi Outcast, they could do
Yeah.
it for XD.
Yeah, and Jedi Outcast turned out all right for port. If they also make the mechanics work right in modern eras too, that's the other downside for something like that, because they were made specifically for that generation, and that generation is not. Yeah, that generation is not really backwards compatible with the current the current generation. They would have to like incorporate bank into it or something to make
Or
it.
at least bring it to Steam, or just do something.
Well, they'll never bring it to Steam, unfortunately. Nintendo's not like that. But
No.
Whitney,
Hell no! Are you
No.
kidding me? Nintendo would never send any of their IPs to any other platform
I
unless they
mean,
got bought out.
one could hope. It's always ethical to
Unless
pirate
you're
Nintendo titles.
Unless you're technically counting Rise, which was originally Nintendo,
That's true.
like on the Switch.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see, but I just caressed Vex's beard. It's nice. But we're putting this milk take bitch. C
we're
tier,
we're
right?
putting her at C tier,
Yeah.
just
C tier.
because for like early on Pokemon trainers, like early in their
She was so
like
ass, dude.
yeah.
Like there's way better bosses for her.
Well,
Honestly, I put her behind Taboo.
Oh, absolutely. She will be going behind Taboo. She'll be going
She really
behind.
had fun though. That's the thing. Like people over like.
It's
Behind
because
everyone?
we're putting her behind Alduin because she is like she's a horrible boss. It's just because she's so memorable, because she's like the
Yeah.
first brick wall a lot of Pokemon players
A lot of
experience.
kids had, yeah.
And then she whines about it. She cries.
Yeah. But her whole job is there to prove that you have progressed as a trainer.
Yeah.
But even then, though, it's just
Like-
like,
like, I like to-
there's like Cynthia, Arceus.
Yeah.
Like even Sword and Shield boss fights were more fun.
I didn't want to incorporate Sword and Shields because they're so fucking divisive. I didn't want to field those comments. I'm going to just be completely honest.
They're boring. honestly.
I actually canceled my pre-order of Sword and Shield. The further
I will
They-
say,
they revealed shit, I'm like, oh god, no, I don't want
I
anything
beat
to
it.
do
I
with
beat
this.
it.
I haven't
yeah.
beat it yet.
I will say this. I'm a bit biased to Sword and Shield because
Well, you're a limey Brit.
I'm a limey Brit, but I will say this: Chairman Rose is one of the easiest film bosses ever.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You know what? I'll
Because
take it,
all his
Luke.
Pokemon are steel types.
Yeah. Fuck that milk tank bitch. All right. So moving on. I got another fighting game one for you, Andrew. Rugal from King of Fighters.
Oh, well, fuck this shit. I'm going to go grab a drink.
And I'll be right back myself in a second, so you guys can take the reins.
I have so many
Rugal,
choice words for
but not
this.
just
You have
any
to believe
Rugal.
me.
He left.
God.
So
Well,
let's
just
go.
me and you, buddy.
Okay, honestly, I want to put him at A tier or low X
Okay.
because like
Okay.
he has way like it's funny because Bison as a villain is way
Yes.
better presence from the overall
Yes.
story, but Rugal has a better presence, not even story wise, but gameplay wise, and
Yeah.
like he stayed that way, even when he wasn't really the focal point of the story, and when you get to play him.
Yeah.
Like he does what Bison kind of I don't like about Bison. How as it got more through Street Fighter, he went less and less, but his
Mhm.
lore presence expanded. Rugal was the opposite. He had his quote unquote saga with Kyo,
His
but
his
then-
legacy.
but then once you had like the K Dash arc, and then the Orochi
Yeah.
arc.
The Orochi arc, yeah.
He lost his presence as lore, but he was still a good boss. And I definitely put him in A tier, maybe low S, just for that alone.
Yeah. Also, with all the iterations we have, there's Rugal, then there's Omega Rugal,
Oh my
and then
god.
there was what, God Rugal or something like
Yeah,
that,
for
and
SNK. Yeah, Capcom
yeah,
versus SNK too.
God, yeah. So
And
like,
his Steam was better than I actually like fighting him better than I like fighting Shinokuma in that game.
oh yeah, Shinikuma's great.
Yeah, like Shinokuma was great, but
I'm
like
back.
Yeah.
welcome back. But Omega Rugal in Capcom vs SNK 2, my childhood, he was so fun to fight, hard as hell,
Yeah.
but his music was a
Very
banger.
hard.
Like his presence was
Yeah.
banger. Like he was just a cool villain. I liked him better than
He was.
Shinokuma.
Yeah, and he could just kick your ass like 8 ways to Sunday.
Oh
Like,
my god.
so many abilities. Like some of them are like, oh, that's kind of a weird one, and but then you have some where you're like, oh shit, oh god, I'm dying.
Like 2 hits and you're fucked at some phases
Yeah.
for him too.
'Cause
It's so
honestly, like,
annoying.
I definitely want to put him like low S, high A, because like Rugal's presence as a villain, especially a fighting game boss, was just
Yeah.
has been staying through. And I give that to SNK for keeping his boss like presence. Like I said, even though
Yeah.
his lore presence has diminished completely. So,
Yeah. Not to
honestly-
mention,
Mhm.
he is very dapper. He is a dapper motherfucker.
Oh hell yeah! Like I love how his whole lore in the first King of Fighters '94, he was just like, oh yeah, I created this tournament just to kick the ass of strong fighters, and then put him as my trophy in the back. He did the guile. I was just like,
And
bro.
then I don't think you want to mention the King of Fighters movie.
Oh,
It
my
doesn't
God.
exist. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
And I heard he was still a presence in King of Fighters 15, which I need to get still.
According to Tyler, he
Yeah,
is.
somehow.
Hell yeah! So I honestly, what do you think, Andrew? Low S or high A?
Yeah. Let's probably say high A.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead
Is
and
he
grab.
above Sephiroth?
Mm.
I'd say he'd be between Sephi and Bowser.
Yeah. I agree.
arguably say
Go ahead and grab whichever version of Rugal you got there.
I might arguably say he's above Bowser. You know?
Yeah, he
Okay.
is.
So we'll just
I-
banish him in there then.
Yeah.
I thought that was
love-
him, but I
love
couldn't remember
Bowser.
his more.
I love Bowser,
Mhm.
but Rugal
Yeah.
as a boss, he's just too good.
Yeah.
Too good.
Okay, let's get Andrew's last 2 out of the way. I believe we still have 2 of his.
I think so.
No, it looks like we got 1 left. In Mother Brain, we could use for your other one. I don't think
Yeah,
Thurman
we'll
could get
just do that for-
the Castlevania one to fit
No,
in.
I didn't get
All right.
Dracula in there. I thought I got
No,
Dracula.
not Dracula. This fucking thing here, the Medusa looking
Oh,
thing.
I
and-
guess it didn't fit.
Okay, yeah, the boss rush.
Yeah, the boss
God.
rush. It looks like it
So-
would have just been hella compressed anyway, just
Yeah.
on that one. We can get the boss rush in the next one, because that is a fun event as well. So let's
Yeah.
get the
Like-
Majora's Mask motherfucker out of the way.
So-
you guys.
Majora's Mask, like the game itself, is hard as balls because you're not only timed, but you have to stop the moon from falling. You have to collect all these masks and items and shit in order to fight. In order to get like your final power kind of thing, like the most powerful mask that you can get to change into a fierce deity. I feel like if you didn't have that mask and you started to fight Majora, the Majora's Mask,
Mhm.
you'd get your ass handed to 8 Ways to Sunday.
That's a nice design too for Link. I really like that Fierce Deity
oh, yeah.
design.
And so you get
Mhm.
when you first fight Majora's Mask.
Don't mind me being a hoe on the side too.
No, I'm seeing you.
So like
it's a
Majora's Mask is
little-
also like it is that time crunch also that really affects you in preparing for that fight,
Exactly.
which is the most unique mechanic I've ever seen in a Zelda game. I honestly think it is. I prefer Ocarina of Time for the story, but
Yes.
mechanically, Majora's Mask is a fucking masterpiece, and so many people sleep on it just
I agree.
because it's like the expansion pack, basically, people consider it.
Yeah.
And it arguably is. It could have been one game, if they would have, been able to, between the memory issues with the N64 and everything else, like that, that was like its biggest hang up. That's why like Final Fantasy VII went from Nintendo to Sony, and like that really hindered that console, but it still managed to bring out some of the most unique games out there. If you dig in that library, there are fucking gems, and Majora's Mask is one of them. I have Red's copy of Majora's Mask now.
Nice.
Because I always wanted the gold card, and I never got it as a kid, and I didn't care that his broke. I just wanted it to have it. Yeah, and I ended up making it into, like, how on like Etsy they have like those exploded pieces. I just took it apart and just I'm going to shadow box it and make it into one of those.
I actually have the gold cart with the 3D design on it.
Yeah,
Like
that's the one he gave me. And I'm just like, I'll take it. I don't care if it's broke. I just want to make it into a piece of art, because that is such a pretty piece of history. I have both of the old gold NES carts too, which
very nice.
Yeah, which are the more common versions, I know, but I still love them to death. They were mine from when I was a kid.
It's great. Yeah, aesthetically, it's like, ooh, shiny, gotta have.
Yeah. Well, it's also the fact that I still have mine from my childhood too. That I'm like, I'm never letting these go.
That's fair.
I will die in poverty before I get rid of those. But like that, just on how imposing this fight is from a story perspective, I think it's well above Ganon.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an S.
Yeah.
I do think it's
like most bosses too. There are the 3 forms and shit.
Yeah, that's that.
I like that you also. I also like that you found an image with all 3 forms of them too.
All 3 of them, just to show, like, oh, it's a mask. Oh,
yeah.
it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And each one is more terrifying than the other.
The question is, where in A tier would he fit? I think he'd be below Flowey, honestly, because like it's not a hard fight if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's also an imposing fight.
It is a very imposing fight. So yeah, I would agree under Flowey.
Okay.
Now for Mother Brain.
Another Brain. Truth be told, I have not played that yet.
Okay, this is again Andrew and I. Mother Brain is a motherfucker.
Yeah, and it depends on which iteration as well. Because
especially like in the GameCube era.
Oh God, yeah.
Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Prime remakes just to go through that again, because it has been so long. It has been so long. And finding affordable copies of the Prime trilogy is non-existent.
I'm glad that I got mine 1, 2, and 3 individually.
Yeah, so I want the Wii copy so badly.
Oh yeah.
But I will probably hunt down the GameCube copies just for my wallet's sake.
I feel like they're cheaper, honestly, if you get them through GameCube.
I found a copy on eBay for like $80, but it was like when I was between jobs, and like the second I got hired in, it was gone. I'm like, motherfucker.
I actually got Prime 1 like when I was finishing up my sophomore year of high school. I got it for $7 to $14. I think it was $14.
Yeah, I traded all of my GameCube stuff in when I was a kid to get the Wii. Yeah. And what I didn't trade in, like the promo disc of Zelda and stuff like that, like I lost.
I still have that. Hell yeah.
I lost all of that when I split up with my ex-fiance, so that was a big hit.
Yeah,
so
I can
imagine. I think Mother Brain is one of the most intimidating bosses in all of Nintendo's Rogue Gallery.
You
Yeah,
know?
because it starts off as a brain,
Mhm.
and it's shooting these little pellets. You're like, okay, this is easy enough. Just
Mhm.
got to dodge and shoot missiles at it. And then in Super Metroid, she gets a bit of a upgrade.
Oh yeah, that she does, and a terrifying one. And then
Oh, very much so.
Prime, I don't know what the hell drugs they were on, but I want to stay as far away from them as possible.
Yeah, because that fight.
Sounds like you guys putting her pretty high then.
I'm just going to
Oh.
for the chat, the quote unquote chat. I'm going to pull up Metroid Prime's Mother Brain.
Is she a recurring villain? I thought she was like a one-time villain. Is she recurring?
She's recurring.
Wow. Well, she's like a Ganon Bowser level Nintendo villain.
So like, she's in Other M. She's in it was Other M that she was in. Yeah, and then she's also in Super Metroid Zero Mission and in the manga as well. I didn't even know there was a fucking manga.
Oh yeah, there's like
it was Japan only. It wasn't ever translated. I don't
So it
think.
was Other M that was in there. So I knew it was one of those later ones, but like, dude, like Mother Brain is just insanity, and so that's the fucking trophy.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the Other M version, but
well, that's the Metroid version.
yeah, that's the Other M. I could have swore she was in fucking Prime.
Here, I
So
found the Other M. Hold on.
Where are you guys putting her? Tier list.
I'll send it through Discord here.
You guys think she's like an A?
I think she's an A. I'm trying to find it.
Where do you think she's at, like, compared to like Steph B and Bowser and all that?
Yeah, here's the Other M version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this. This is when the Metroid sacrificed herself to save you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like,
baby.
yeah, this is fucking terrifying. Like,
God damn, that design is really good. Holy shit.
What the?
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
that thing?
Yeah. Luke, welcome to Metroid.
Welcome to
I know
Nintendo.
Metroid, but that is just like.
So
What?
I think Mother Brain on that is
B? You put a B?
no, I'm had to drag her up. I think she'd be
Yeah.
between Rugal and Bowser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the thing is, like, you don't need like a solid like narrative
Mm-hmm.
because, like, there's no dialogue in Metroid except for like
Other M and shit.
Yeah.
later games,
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But you still knew who Mother Brain was,
Mm-hmm.
and then seeing her get a second form
Right.
just kind of blew your mind, and you're like, oh god, oh, this is happening, and then that story changes,
Yeah, and
so like it's impressive without having a narrative, just that fear you get, and
right.
that how powerful they are.
Right, and in a world of things that all want to kill you
Yes.
and are absolutely terrifying, like Ridley, Mother Brain, you have the Metroids, you have like literal genocide as the plotline of Metroid.
Yeah.
It's insanity to think about something like that and then see that form of Mother Brain.
Exactly.
While you're going through like the darkest story in fucking Metroid history.
Yeah.
Although not the most well-written game on the planet.
No, definitely not. There are some loopholes and flaws.
And damsel in distress moments.
Other M is flawed.
that
Doesn't exist.
yeah, that game left a massive scar on that franchise for so long. I'm so glad that they brought it back with Dread and they're bringing it back with Prime 4. But that franchise, I'd say Kirby and then Metroid in terms of dark tones.
Oh, definitely.
Because Kirby is just full on planetary scaled genocide, and then in Metroid,
definitely.
And like xenophobia in a way, because everything is trying to kill everything else, just for existing. And then you have like Metroid, where it's just like targeted planetary destruction.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those two are just, You think they're cute, but they're very,
Yeah.
very much not. And that's
Yeah.
the thing that Nintendo's very good at. Speaking
Definitely.
of Kirby, King DDD.
Oh, okay. It's my turn again.
Not to interrupt. I would love to keep going, but I have to go.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's
thanks
why
for
I was
joining
trying
us.
to get yours out of the way there, Andrew. Thanks for
I
thanks for coming
appreciate
in,
that.
man.
Yeah.
And then
See you next time, buddy.
yeah, we'll have you on
See ya.
again in the very near future, my dude.
Alright,
Awesome.
shit.
Sounds good.
We're already
Nice
going
talking
on
with
for
you
an
guys.
hour.
Nice doing
talking,
this.
bro.
Yeah, for sure.
We might have
Peace.
to,
Peace.
depending on how tired we get, we
Yeah.
might. So a lot. Might
Yeah,
have
there-
to make a part 2 for this.
Yeah, I'm thinking we might end up having to make a part 2 for this one.
So let's do 2 more and then cut because we're already at an hour.
Yeah, we're at an hour and 30
Yeah.
minutes.
So do 2 more. and
I
then-
think we could do like 4 more if we do them fast.
Oh,
We
God,
could
you-
do
this man wants to do.
but 2 more if we do them slowly. I think
Well-
King DDD is pretty self-explanatory.
Well, then let's do one of each for
Apparently,
all of us.
a lot of people don't like King DDD, so
Fuck
but
it.
that's what I've heard opinions on. So
Okay, so
I want to hear what
DDD
you guys.
As a boss. Okay, so compared
Mhm.
to. Okay, so I'm just gonna say where I think I think DDD is in B tier. Compared to.
He is
Ganon
below
and
everybody else
Bowser.
he is below everybody else in B tier.
I agree, and I tell you why. It's funny. It's fucking crazy that Sakurai's a fucking mad lad, because like DDD besides Meta Knight is one of the most recognizable bosses. I
Mhm.
should have put Meta Knight here too, compared to like recognizable recurring bosses,
Mhm.
and somehow compared to like the Galactus shit that Kirby fights, DDD's fights are very lackluster, and I think that's the point. I think DDD is just there to be that like Ganon,
yeah,
Bowser,
he's there to be the foil.
and it's crazy because Kirby has some of the best boss fights in gaming,
Mhm.
and no one can convince me otherwise. And
Mhm.
it's just like you have DDD, and some of his shit is just like very fun boss fights for Kirby.
Yeah.
But, like compared to like even Wispy Woods, which is like you just finding a fucking tree, DDD's boss fights are just very like, I don't think they're shit. I think
No.
they're very fun, and I think we have to include the mechanics and how fun the
Mhm.
boss fight is into the tier list,
Mhm.
not just the characters themselves.
Right.
So I would put him at B tier, but like he's definitely behind Ganon and Bison for sure.
Yeah.
Because
I'd even say he might even fall into C tier, but
I wanted to say that, but I think that's maybe too low.
it would be because he is a mascot first and a boss
Mhm.
second.
Yes,
Be-
100%. Couldn't say it better myself. And it's crazy because I want to put him in B tier just because of the Superstar
and-
Ultra fights.
And I wouldn't even considered him a mascot until Smash Brothers either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Smash Brothers kind of cemented him as that mascot because he is one of the most fun people to play as in Smash Brothers,
Mhm.
especially the early on games. Like once
He
it
doesn't
got
have any
like
presence
no,
compared to Meta Knight.
Meta Knight is fucking menacing, and DDD is there for the comedic,
Mhm.
and he's there for to be Kirby's foil. He is the antithesis of everything that Kirby is.
Yeah.
But he is also very much a fucking pushover in every fight he is in because
Yeah.
he is a giant rotund son of a bitch that has no presence being as agile as he can be. He's like a sumo almost.
Yeah.
But at the same time he has the most pathetic moveset in Kirby
he's just
outside
like,
of a mob.
he's just like Sephiroth, and like he's just there just to annoy Kirby. Like his only presence, he's just really a petty villain
Mhm.
that just like really wants to fuck with Kirby because he doesn't like Kirby.
I'm also saving Emerald Weapon for the part 2 so Andrew can be in it.
Okay. So like I will put him honestly. I think you're right. I think C tier is a good. Like I think he's high C tier.
Above
Yeah,
Yep,
Yami.
yep.
Yeah.
okay.
Honestly, no. Fuck that. Yami.
Above Taboo.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I guess DDD, man, he's not bad, but
He's not good either. He's very much
Yeah.
not good. I think we want to get and I want to say one other thing about King DDD. If we get another good Kirby game, that might change. But we haven't had a good Kirby game in fucking ages. I haven't played the Switch one, so I don't know.
That one's actually I played the demo.
Okay.
Really fun.
Okay.
Really fun.
Okay.
I don't think DDD in it. I haven't gotten that. I mean, I played the demo.
Right.
So I haven't seen DDD in it, but
Right. So if he's in another, let me rephrase that. If he's in another good Kirby game, and if you're in the chat here, the comments, and know that he's in the new one for Switch, let us know. Let us know if he's redeemed himself as a character. But other than that,
too, and the last thing I'll say about him is that they switched him from being a villain to more of like an ally to Kirby.
Yeah.
I think that hurt his status as a villain.
Yeah.
Compared to like, cause Bowser, Bowser helps out Mario from time to time, but reluctantly.
Yeah,
But
he is always
back to being a villain.
yeah, he is always forced to be the ally.
Yeah.
He is never an ally by choice. DDD will flip flop sides whenever.
Yeah.
I wanna be a cunt here and fucking do final form or armor form Xehanort.
You have the floor. I haven't fought him yet.
So
it's all you.
So out of every form of Xehanort in the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise, and there are countless, as I said in the stream, I think this is the most fun, and this is why I'm so pissed that death battle that Red and I made got canned because of the audio quality of it. He is so menacing. Like, just to get a better image, let me get him up here. So, like, this presence here on your screen for a good half hour, 45 minutes. Right? Right. I'm getting an image here. Look at this motherfucker here. So, this is Armor Form Xehanort, right? From Scala Callum. Look at this big motherfucker. So imagine fighting him for a good 30, 45 minutes.
I cannot see him.
Let me see what's going on there. Let me change the screen that you are seeing really quick. Change
Put
window.
it in, click on
I
the
got
link.
him.
I
got him. Yeah. So look at that motherfucker there. So imagine fighting him for that long, right? And then having to go and fight another form of him for another 30, 45 minutes after that. Because they do the thing that most JRPGs do, where you go in and have the multi-phase boss fight, and you got to deal with all the idiocy that comes with that. But this fight is so fun. Because you're going around this gigantic open arena, while also being able to use every ability you've gotten. And by no stretch of the imagination is Kingdom Hearts 3 challenging.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Because they kind of baby fight, and there's literally levels where there's hundreds and hundreds of Heartless and Unversed and nobodies to where you can just kind of power level. So by the time you get to them, you're maxed out usually. So it's just two level 99 motherfuckers going at each other for multiple hours throughout those phases. And it is so satisfying to watch 20 years worth of history unfold on screen. It's the story coming together. It's I can go off on the story of Kingdom Hearts and being the goddamn mess that it is. In fact, I melted Luke's mind in that live stream.
Yeah, you seriously, I'm still confused. Like,
Hey, welcome to Kingdom Hearts, Luke.
yeah, I try to have like a whiteboard in my mind, but even then, I'm like, no, go back like
2,000 sentences and get me a drink. And that's kind of how Kingdom Hearts is as a franchise, which is unfortunate. It's all over the place in the story. I know there's gonna be elitists in there. It's not that hard to understand. Go touch grass, motherfucker. It is it is on Evangelion levels of bullshittery. And I say that with all the love in my heart because I love both franchises, but there is no comprehensive plot line for Kingdom Hearts and where things take place unless you play through 4 mobile games, 18 different handhelds, 27 different console ports, and then just blow Nomura to get the last little bit of juice. Okay? But at the end of the day, this is the most satisfying boss fight in that franchise, and therefore it's a fucking S for me. It is.
I can't argue against that, so go ahead.
I will also put him above your Mario bullshittery, but below the 90s game.
Mario bullshit.
Yeah.
Look at the haters, man. Hater bias.
Okay,
So one more, then we're gonna have to.
yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this because we're at an hour and 40 minutes.
40.
And there is a limit to YouTube's watch retention
Okay,
here.
so let's finish off with
one of Luke's we should finish off
Okay.
on.
I think I want to save the Star Wars: The Old Republic one for later because I've got a lot to say about that
Okay.
one.
Okay, well then let's do one we probably all know. Let's
We
see.
could go Yellow Devil.
Okay, Yellow
Oh
Devil.
no!
Yellow
Oh, wait.
Devil.
You,
Okay.
you
Wait,
take
I
the
thought- when you said Yellow Devil, I thought you meant Ultra Necrozma.
no.
From Mega Man.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the Yellow Devil as a boss. Oh my god, different. But I just want to chop it up to old school mechanics because that game was was so much fun. But the Yellow Devil fight was so annoying. Like the shifting, you having no when the yellow balls go through, and then you having to shoot the eye. It's such a simple
Right.
boss fight, but the way you have to do it is so complicated. It's crazy.
Right.
And so, like, I almost want to put it in A tier because, like,
I'll say
like the
one
yellow-
thing though, right? So it got mechanically easier to fuck with it as we got remakes,
yeah,
which kind of knocks it a little bit. But that's
That's
only
fair.
that's only because people can cheese it now. You can pause and
Yeah.
unpause. You can,
yeah,
and even back in the old days, you had ways to work around its fucking brokenness. But in the original version of Mega Man, it was
I actually played it from the collection.
Mhm.
The collection version still hard as shit.
oh yeah,
my
it
God.
is still hard as shit, but it is miraculously easier than the NES
Now,
version.
Yeah,
Because of the NES version, you did not have those iframes. Basically, you can trace it a little bit easier now than you
Uh-huh.
could back
Back in
on a
the day.
CRT.
like in the 80s and shit.
Mhm. But a CRT is a better experience for a game like that, I will say. That's my
Yeah.
retro elitism coming out. But that just on that, I would say it'd be a low A.
I mean, because the Yellow Devil compared to other bosses on here, because Yellow Devil is not a final boss,
And it's not.
so we can't really talk about the boss's presence compared to like DDD, Sand, shit like that, because like the Yellow Devil is
Is
the old
the-
boss and it has no plot
relevance.
so we have to tier it based off of gameplay, and the gameplay alone is A,
Yeah,
because the boss fight alone is difficult. It's still fun, challenging.
right. It's not on some Dark Souls bullshit.
Yeah, but it's still like, okay, I'd put my controller down before I fucking throw my controller.
Or my entire Switch across
Yeah.
the floor.
So I definitely put it actually above Flowey.
Yeah, because Flowey is mechanically built to self-destruct.
Yeah, so, but this one is very challenging. So I put it behind Bowser,
Mhm.
but I think this is fair.
I think that's fair. I think we also have time for one more.
Okay.
I think we need to get the elephant in the room out of here.
Which one?
I think we really do need to get Nemesis out of the way.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's
So,
the
you can talk about
By
this
the
one.
way, before we go on, I feel like we should have the Wesker fight from Resident Evil 5.
I think Wesker is in here.
Oh, okay. All right, we
Uh,
can save that for next time.
I mean, even if he isn't, we can add
Okay.
bosses that were supposed to be here anyway.
mhm.
Just
Yeah.
remind me. I know Wesker's supposed to be in here.
The boss
Dracula.
rush. The boss rush. I think
Boss
Dracula.
Rush. Oh,
yeah.
yeah, right there. Dracula right there.
Yeah.
Okay, but add the Boss Rush
Mhm.
and Wesker when
Mhm.
we come back.
Yeah.
So Nemesis.
Yeah, Nemesis needs to be in. I think Nemesis, as he's evolved, has become a weaker character.
I think B tier is best for him.
I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. At his inception, he was
Mhm.
the most terrifying thing to come out of that era.
I like the fact that because I haven't played Resident Evil, but from what I've seen from him, I think his sort of like hatred
Mm-hmm.
for Jill puts him at a good B because he's a good like stalker, like Jill Stars sort of situation.
Yeah.
Well, he used to be a member at some point, and then he got turned into a BOW, and then that became Nemesis. But at
He's
the same,
iconic too to the franchise.
yeah, absolutely. He has been in every crossover. He's been in Marvel vs. Capcom. He's been in like countless other things. But I think he is degraded with age.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bison.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
Because he's become so iconic, they've turned him into this weaker, lesser being.
Unfortunate,
Yeah,
that's what happens.
It's but I will say that like the Regenerators from Resident Evil 4, they've kind of had the opposite. They were terrifying back in the day. They're still terrifying
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you see Nemesis, you're like, oh, I know how to outrun you. I can
Yeah.
make it around like all of Raccoon City without getting touched. Blah blah blah.
Do you think the remake made him better?
I think graphically that it made him better. I don't think it's controversial, but yet not controversial, depending on what circle of the Resident Evil fandom you touch into. A lot of people prefer the retro version simply because he's more iconic and more terrifying, and there's less room to maneuver around the city.
So do you think Resident Evil 3 remake lowers his tier or makes it higher?
Personally, I think it made him a better villain because at that point you understand more of his story. You've had more experience with him, and you have more lore that goes with him at the same time. But it lessens his presence.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of people. And as the biggest argument, not even just in video games, but manga, comics, whatever, not every villain needs a backstory.
Right.
Because that's the reason why they're villains.
Right.
And Nemesis probably falls into that category where he was
the backstory kind of makes sense in the universe, and just simply because of how Resident Evil's story is presented. But at the same time, like, having a lack of presence in the remake because of how spacious that world is does not make him this like impending immovable object that you need to take down.
And I think that's what his character needed. He didn't need to be humanized.
He didn't need to be humanized, and he didn't need to have like 95 million fucking spaces open to him to kind of take you down. Whereas like what made Resident Evil 3 so unique back in the day is it was this almost like an expansion pack to 2, and it kind of still feels like that today, but at the same time it had a smaller scale, and that avenue of Raccoon City, like post Resident Evil 2, and this is like right after the end of that, where you're trying to escape before the bomb goes off and destroys the city, and you're trying to deal with all of the outcome of that and trying to get the antidote to kind of prevent that from happening, right? That's the whole point of Resident Evil 3, is trying to prevent that nuke from going off and destroying all of Raccoon City. But in the remake, it's so wide open that you can just dodge him the entire game, right? And when you can dodge the biggest target and the biggest threat in that game, it doesn't make it feel like it's at all challenging until you get into the end game where you're having your boss fight with him.
Yeah, I think probably he didn't need the characterization. His whole point was to be a big scary monster, and by trying to give him humanization, it ruins his presence. So I understand that.
Yeah, and just having like the ability to dodge past him and just and it seems like they almost weakened him too. Luke, you played RE3 remake, didn't you?
Very briefly, but I will say this. I'd make an argument that Jack Baker is a better Nemesis.
Oh Jesus, fuck yes!
We need to put Jack Baker like all the Bakers.
I don't want to put all the Bakers on here. I will say I will say Jack would make sense for this one, and maybe Marguerite later on.
Yeah, Marguerite. What about? I will say Evelyn. I want to put Evelyn as well.
Evelyn, yeah, that would be an interesting one,
because Evelyn is probably my favorite Resident Evil main villain.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put him behind Bison. We can talk about like putting the Baker family in like the part 2 of this, or in like the second one.
That's what I was planning.
So you want to share this? Or no, we'll just
save it.
We'll save this one.
Save it.
And then, motherfucker. There we go.
Okay, we download. So let's keep this.
Mhm.
So when we close it out, when we come back to it, we can put them where they were before.
Yeah.
And then, all right. Well, we're just ending off here. We're at an hour and 50. Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in, guys. Let us know what you guys think.
If you have any if you have any recommendations for bosses to add to this or to add to a second one of these.
Second to one, yeah. We're gonna add too much to the part 2 to this.
Yeah.
It'll be even longer. But
yeah,
we can add like maybe 2 or 3.
Right.
Maybe.
And then for the second one we could go.
We'll add off of other bits.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is peace from me.
Peace.
Peace.